What color is this bag? This optical illusion is blowing people's minds. They can't agree if this handbag is blue or green. Around 63% of people see a green handbag, but the remaining 37% of people claim the bag is blue. So, which side are you on? Are you dizzy yet? Let's experiment with disappearing dots. Look at any part of the picture for some time. Blue dots will begin to blink and disappear. Now focus your eyes on some other spot in the picture. The blue dots will disappear in some other place. But when you concentrate, they will appear again. Which one of these two blue shapes is brighter? This is another example of color consistency. The left shape appears to look darker than the right, although the color is the same. But the context makes them seem different. Look at the 4 squares in the boxes. Which one is the biggest? All squares are the same size, but lighter colors such as yellow and green appear larger. Which line is longer, A or B? Well, they're of the same length. This illusion appears because your mind perceives this image in 3D space. That's why your brain tells you that the line which is closer to you must be shorter than the more distant one. Get ready to be surprised. How many cubes can you see? 6 or 7? Well, it depends on your point of view, right? If you count from top to bottom, then it's 6. But if you look from the bottom up, then 7. Choose which pieces you want to play with, black or white. No matter what you've chosen, you won't be able to play. These figures are completely identical, but the background plays tricks with your brain. Look at the picture very closely. Can you read what's written here? It says, "You're beautiful," and you really are, even if you couldn't see this inscription. What about this picture? Is the blue star inside or outside of the cube? The truth is that the star is both inside and outside at the same time. This cube is just a 2D image that is drawn in a 3D perspective. It's flat, and that's why the star cannot be inside the cube. In 2D, such tricks are simply impossible. You can notice a similar effect here. Is the flower blooming from the center? This widening is also just your perception. The picture is static. How many blue tints do you see in this picture? The picture demonstrates 5 different shades of blue. Each row of squares has a slightly different tint. The closer to the middle of the picture, the brighter the color gets. Only very attentive people can notice this difference. Let's move on and complicate the task a little bit. Is it possible that these 4 circles have identical colors? This phenomenon is called the Munker illusion. In simple words, the framing color impacts your color perception more intensively compared to the central color. But if we reduce the saturation of the framing colors, the strength of the illusion reduces as well. Take a look at this colored grid. Can you see gray dots on the white stripes? The square's intersections are purely white, although you may notice flashing gray dots. Which square is darker? Well, they're of the same color, see? Look at these karatekas. Which shadow is darker? The The tint of both Karatica's shadows may seem very different, but in reality, their colors are the same. You can see this clearly if you take a look at this picture. How many colors can you see in this picture? Squares on the white background seem pink, while squares on the green background look darkish red. Ha, false. These squares are identical. Optical illusions can create imaginary volume where it doesn't exist. Let's check your perception of depth. Take a look at this picture. Does it seem to you that the transition of colors creates the illusion of volume? This volume doesn't exist because it's a 2D picture. Is there a difference between blocks A and B? These blocks have similar colors and shapes, but your brain sees that square B is in the shadow, and it may assume that the square must be lighter than it really is. This perceptual phenomenon is called color consistency, and this process has nothing to do with the objects. Your eyes and brain tend to perceive the same color even under changing illumination. Still can't believe it? Check this out. How many tints of red can you see in this picture? There are only 4 tints of red in here, although it seems to be more. If you look at this picture for a while, the shapes will begin to move. But the picture is static. Animation? Magic? Nah, it's just your brain playing tricks with your perception. Look at the center of this picture for some time. Can you see that the color richness of these blue circles begins to change and flow? Observe this pattern for a while. These green stripes can't be parallel, right? Don't jump to conclusions, because they can. If we remove all additional objects that distract your vision, it will become obvious that the lines are parallel. Look at this pattern very attentively. What colors are the dots in the green squares? And in the red ones? The dots are completely identical in color, but the background makes them look different. This pattern is very chaotic, but I'm sure that you see a hidden number. That's right, it's number 134. Not only colors can confuse you, but they can also disappear. Look at the center of the circle for a couple of seconds. The colored ring in the center will begin to disappear. Vision fatigue is one of the possible explanations of this phenomenon. These two grids are of different shades of blue, or are they? In fact, the grids are of the same color, but the orange frame makes it look blue, while the red one makes its frame seem greenish. Take a close look at this beautiful pattern. How many gray elements have you counted? The correct answer is 6. However, the shades of gray are very different. This is only noticeable if you remove the noise. Now, this one is a variation of a classic disappearance illusion. Close your left eye and look at the letter O. Did the letter X disappear? Now open your left eye, but close the right one and look at the letter X. Letter O should disappear as well. This trick is connected with a blind spot in your eye. When we look at common images, we usually don't even notice this blind spot because the human brain can fill in the blanks with imagination. Watch out, there's a spider on the ground. Can you find it? It's hiding over here. Step away carefully if you don't want to spoil the weather. There are 3 birds in this picture, and they're of the same color. Can you find them? This one is on the left and this one on the right, and the third bird is hiding over here. The contrast gradient of the sunset is confusing your brain. Take a look at this complicated pattern for a few seconds. Can you see that blue squares at the intersections of red and green ones look dislodged? In reality, the side of the square is completely straight. This illusion is probably caused by the contrast of color transition. Not all people fall for this trick, though. Colorblind people usually see straight sides of the squares. What about you? Which word is brighter? If we remove the grid, it will become obvious that both words are of the same color. Look at this picture very attentively. How much cake is there? Plus one piece or minus one piece? Let this remain a mystery because any answer can be correct. See, it depends on how you perceive this shape. Moving on. Which one of the green circles is the biggest? None of them. All green circles are of the same size. Look at this pattern. What colors are the circles? How many did you count? Surprise! All circles are of identical colors. Can you figure out which word is hidden here? That's right, it's the word smile. These St. Valentine's cards look quite similar, but what about the color of the hearts? No, these are two different shades of pink, but they look alike because of the background that tricks your brain.